out of Drew Disney Dude here on Twitter, or X, whichever one you want to go ahead and refer to it by. D23 trolls Cracker Barrel with their new logo, LMAO. Look, if the company it was just a corporation providing amazing experiences for their guests and there were no controversies at all, maybe then it'd be a little funny. Somewhat out of date, but a little funny right there. Unfortunately, people weren't laughing along with them. Instead, they were laughing at them. There you go, from Mouse Info over there on X as well. Let's not throw stones in glass houses. I just love how, I believe it's Joey over there at Mouse Info, beautifully documented the history of logos, at least at a Disneyland Resort. You can see right here, this is kind of the, the 2000s version. And obviously, this is the classic logo. This is the new-ish logo for Disney's California Adventure, and that was the original right there. So they have a long history of doing this. But then when you add in the projects, well, that gets even worse right here. Disney's like the last company that should make this joke when they actively do things like the following. Obviously, Communicore Hall, the World of Disney, stripping all of the magic from that shop on both coasts, by the way, not just at Disney Springs, but also down to Disney at the Disneyland Resort, and also to the new Epcot refresh, remodel, rebrand, whatever you want to call it. Lorena comes in here. The pot shouldn't be talking smack about the kettle. Force of Light Entertainment even got involved. Not sure Disney is in a position to be making fun of brands doing things their customers don't like. I do agree. Marvin Montanaro, editor-in-chief of That Park Place, the difference is Cracker Barrel listened to feedback and changed direction. And here you go, from Theme Park Casual, who is amazing at crafting logos, as Disney is doing the exact same thing to Frontierland. Oh, yes. And the incidents, they just keep on riding. Y'all remember the Fort Wilderness cabins and how they took what were quaint and very in-theme cabins that people like to book out. They made it into a new DVC in which they had new modern designs and so forth. Do you remember this Main Street Emporium refresh right here? Obviously, Communicore Hall, as Blog Mickey beautifully pointed out, is an embarrassment, and it just goes on and on and on. Everybody, your thoughts, please, on this particular story.
And let's not forget the Hollywood Studios archway that they've lowered, and now they're just going to get rid of it altogether.
Yes, yes, they stripped out all of the amazing kind of beautiful fonts and so forth that used to be attached to something like Disney's MGM Studios and Disney Hollywood Studios and so forth, and they stripped it down until it was like a very simplified logo, and now it's basically nothing. Culture, it's just, what were they thinking here? I understand it's D23, but you represent the company at some point, correct?
Yeah. Look, Disney was the modern Cracker Barrel before we knew what was happening there, and I think that that was not a good look for them, because they basically, as a company, especially in Imagineering, are essentially Cracker Barrel. They are the necessary downgrade. And look, I as much as I appreciate Blog Mickey's efforts, that article was ridiculous, and Disney's approach to all things, especially this, has been ridiculous. Everything they do recently is a downgrade. They have yet to pick up or elevate Imagineering. And when it comes to D23, I don't think people realize this. You used to get a lot for your efforts to be there, and that's all gone. I mean, they're not even trying to fool you with some kind of, dancing light bologna sausage, bus, which I think is also, rather telling, because one of the years, I think it was 2018, 2019. I don't remember which year it was in Florida, but they tried to get the influencers and people to actually get excited about a bus, an inter hotel bus or right. a magical express bus, which is something they were going to get rid of anyway. So it was pretty embarrassing. Disney and these events, very embarrassing. They put people in embarrassing positions. They remove your appreciation of Muppets because they have people walking around with the Muppets on their arm. They are plainly visible. There's all kinds of things that I have experienced as somebody who has been very close to this for basically my entire life. And I the last decade and a half, maybe, it's been a constant slide. So again, I'm not surprised by any of this, but there's no purpose to go to D23 anymore, and there probably is no purpose to go to the expo, because largely what you'll be presented is a fictional version of what you'll get. And one of the great images here in the collage that we have going on in the B-roll is the interior of what replaced the buildings on either side of the entry plaza with Fountain of Nations. There's no more fountain. There's no more beautiful air conditioning. There's no more even attempts at, trying to have some edutainment anymore. And what's left? A stinking, barely working, occasionally water walkthrough. And none of the other promised things. You have disappointment in Spaceship Earth. You have an incredibly out of place Guardians attraction. And the invasion of IP is been a necessary downgrade, to use Disney's words. So Mouse Gear was vastly superior to the garbage we have now that looks like a shopping warehouse, at a, what do you call it, an outlet location. I'm done with it. And again, the reason that the Cracker Barrel thing works so well or the new Cracker Barrel logo that they abandoned works so well for Disney is because you are getting homogenized, boring architectural garbage that, could be anything. It could be a Ramada. It could be a Taco Bell at this point. So this is the America-hating, postmodern, neo-Marxist at work. Anyway, thank you. I'll get off the soapbox now. Yeah.
No, a couple things too to point out about what they did at D23. First of all, after the fact, because at that point in time, Cracker Barrel already said we're going to go back to our old logo. Second of all, at that point in time, Cracker Barrel had scraped from their website the Skittles Nation group that they were giving to, and I just want to point out that Disney made no mention of that whatsoever. Gee, I wonder why.
Yeah.
It's really, really weird. The focus of the Disney Corporation used to be, let's see how much we can get away with giving to the families that come here. Remember the year of a million dreams?
Yeah, right.
I mean, people would get picked to spend the night in the castle, at the beautiful Cinderella suite that's inside of there. There was a time when Disney would get you in on your birthday for free. The corporation used to be about how much can we give our guests, and they even had a coined phrase for it called the Disney difference. It is bizarre to me that was working so well, and you would go, wow, that's working well. Let's pull away from all that. Let's see how much of that Disney difference we can take away to homogenize this and make it like everything else. But what happened, of course, is everything else got better in the meantime. So now you have a beautiful park in Epic Universe to go to. You have all kinds of other options. And we're seeing it in the attendance levels at Disney. Attendance is going down at Disney. It's going up everywhere else. And this is what you get for doing that. I mean, I wouldn't have been surprised if they weren't trying to mock Cracker Barrel, but that was the actual new D23 logo.
We talk about the blandification or the Genslerification of Disney, Gensler being a commercial architectural firm, which unfortunately has ahead of a lot of its leadership and employees make their way inside the halls of Imagineering to Imagineering's detriment, I would say. But we look about the minimalism that's actually going on, the stripping of theming and so forth, as Culture beautifully pointed out right there. And then you look across the way at Epic Universe, where they really embrace kind of maximalism, especially for their shops and interiors and so forth. I was very surprised to see how much theming was in every single commercial retail or restaurant establishment over there at Epic Universe.
Pizza Moon is a great example of that.
Right. I mean, they just let those Universal creatives just run wild, and it was great to see. But what do we see from Disney? We see what it has been going on for with Cracker Barrel for the last couple of years, but really for Disney, it's been going on for 10 plus years, probably culture. I mean, just the stripping of what people go to Walt Disney World for, which is theming, which is that kind of storytelling through architectural styles and through props, set dressing, what have you.
Well, I mean, it's a broader conversation we've been having across all these platforms that we share. When it comes to what's happening, like the best illustrative point would be Frontierland right now, stripping out the identity and the theming that essentially was a portion of the park that was beyond compare. It's one of the primary elements that Walt himself made sure to include in every one of these fantasy parks. It allowed you to select from one of the. You were walking into a different theme, no matter if you went to Fantasyland or Tomorrowland or Adventureland or, well, Frontier. And now it's IP land. You're actually stripping the identity of these unique creations away, and at the same time destroying the history of, well, America. Because you cannot have nostalgia for something that you don't have a connection to or a desire to a place that you desire to be. Everybody longs for a simpler time, something that, you could aspire to. They're taking away the initial sparks of imagination in addition to, everybody's memories. Look, it's like, what was it? Reaching back and pulling something from your childhood and destroying it. Disney's become the master of that. And that's why I hold Disney in such low regard these days. I long for the past that honored the past. And the worst quote ever taken out of context by somebody I used to respect, it was dead, thankfully, is that these places aren't museums, taking a Walt quote way out of context. And Marty Sklar is the villain in this story now, instead of one of the original old men. Different conversation.
And that's the thing about the museum quote right there, definitely taking it way out of context, but maybe they should be partially seen as museums. Because Walt Disney, I mean, he was so fond of Americana, and he wanted, it's the hard facts like creating America. It's embedded in Disneyland's opening day speech right there. He wanted this to be a showcase of American history. And yet we're stripping so much of that out, just like Cracker Barrel has done. And to illustrate this point, finally here, I want to go ahead and pull this Attractions magazine article up. You'll recall, if you've been watching That Park Place, that the three principles, the guiding principles for Imagineering, were revealed to Attractions magazine. And one of the last is, the setting isn't the story. That's who you have working in Imagineering. That's who you have trolling, essentially, Cracker Barrel, are the people saying that setting, what's all that about? I guess it's all about shape language.
And so what we've tried to do is really bring that shape language from the architecture. But like what we love to talk about at WDI is shape language. And we often refer to shape language.
There's such iconic shape language in Spaceship Reverie Attraction. We really wanted to make sure that we fused to that throughout the space.
They don't know what the f they're doing. Do you understand that?
Thanks for watching That Park Plays News. For more information, consider checking out www.thatparkplace.com. And don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and send this out on your favorite social media accounts.